Okay, well, um, welcome. This is Steve Tees Off, brought to you by riversidegolf.ca. And I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome Matt Palsenbarg. Sorry, uh,
Everyone says Berg.
Berg,
So
Barg,
yeah.
Matt, and um, one of one of the interesting things that came up about you was that you were the first you won a BC simulator series.
Yeah.
I didn't know that
Yeah.
until I did a little bit of research but before we talk about that, let's talk a little bit about you, Matt, about your background. Um and you're a local boy, Cloverdale boy,
Mhm.
but let's talk about um you know your start in this game of golf and we were talking before about the Ryder Cup, which is happening this weekend. There's a lot of stuff going on in the game, but you've you have you're a local boy who started something. What obviously the hat that you're wearing, if anybody's watching, they'll see backyard. And I only became aware of this a couple months ago that
Mhm.
you had, and I used to live out in Cloverdale on 61st, and I took my son out to
Sunrise.
Sunrise.
Oh yeah.
Betcha, of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah.
of course, of
It's my
course.
first place I ever golfed.
So okay, let's start at the beginning here. Let's start at the beginning. You
Well, I think it's I still remember taking, I think I was about 8 and I took a summer camp at Coyote Creek.
okay?
Hated golf.
Uh,
But that's your classic, for those who know the old Gerard Baish back in the day. You're pro that just had crates of balls and you just hit golf balls the whole time.
uh,
No real coaching. And I hated it. I was pretty good at most sports that I played, and golf just, I wrote it off. And so the Willows 9, I'll still, everyone has their shot, but for me, I remember going with my neighbor, Craig, and his dad and my dad, and we played the Willows, the executive 9 at Surrey Golf Club. And yeah, I just kind of hit 3-wood the whole time. And I was about 12. And on the 9th hole, my dad kind of said, "No, hit a 7-iron." And I smoked this thing in the middle of the green, and that was it. Golf was
the game.
my sport, even though that hole doesn't exist anymore because it's townhomes. I still remember the tree line. I can remember the front slopes. Like, I can remember that shot pretty vividly. Um, and I chose golf from then on, and I got a job at North Hill. My 13th birthday I started because I pestered Chris Hoy, who was the head pro forever and ever.
Yeah.
Pestered him about getting a job, getting a job, getting a job. And, you can't work till your 13th. So we agreed that I'd start working on the 13th. He gave me the flakiest job in the world, which was, at the time, I remember he hopped in a power cart and he's like, "All right, hop in that one and follow me." I've never driven a power cart. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm supposed to just follow him.
Uh-huh.
And he had me fix ball marks in the evenings. And then he's like, "You're going to fix ball marks for 5 minutes." Showed me how. Then you go putt for 5 minutes. Then you go to the next hole. You're going to fix ball marks for 5 minutes. You're going to putt for 5 minutes. He's like, "You're going to do 9 holes. And then come in and maybe get you to sweep or something." And obviously I'm not a small guy.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like the smallest 13-year-old either. So I looked older than I was, and quickly, back shop, carts, all that stuff. So it was work there for quite a long time, until I was probably about 16, 17. And then there was an incident that happened, and they took away kind of staff privileges, playing privileges, because we'd play 36 holes a day. Like, I'd play tons of golf.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. And that's what I was there for. I'd ride my bike there. I would, and then I went up to Surrey Golf Club to work there because I needed to play. And one round a week wasn't
Enough.
It's not going to make it happen. And I wanted to be a golfer. So Surrey offered me a job. I was working at both places. And then Northview thought it'd be best if I just worked at one place, whatever that meant. I was 16. I didn't freaking understand that.
Uh.
But yeah, I worked at Surrey Golf Club for 16 till probably through grade 12, and then went. My dad let me get a job at a warehouse in grade 12, the warehouse he worked in. I think it was a opportunity to tell me this is not a good life in these warehouses, and worked through that, and kind of gave up on golf at that time once I graduated, because I had scholarship offers and stuff. Like, I had done work to get scholarships, but there's no money. Like, there was no money to go there, and so I went to Kwantlen, and we actually had a pretty freaking stacked golf team there, because we had a lot of retail.
Kwantlen had a golf team.
Kwantlen had a golf team. Actually, funny enough, full circle, Gerard Bache, who was that guy from grade 8, was the coach. And man, he was a beauty. And yeah, we played Kwantlen at this. There was like 1 or 2 years where we had probably 7 scratch golfers. And these are like Div 1 rejects that flunked out, couldn't get the grades. They all came back, and we would go to like Div 1 programs and just
smoke them.
Yeah, and very, we were Surrey people and Coquitlam people, and that was like Westwood Plateau's heyday of good players.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of fun. Like, we had scratches that didn't make the roster, like guys that can shoot in the 60s. And then right around there, I kind of stopped. Pretty cold turkey for work to pay for school, and went to Kwantlen, did my your classic 2-year diploma that only took 3 years to accomplish. And then I kind of got back into it, and got a job, of all places, at Morgan Creek as a dishwasher.
Really?
So at about 20 years old, I went, and my cousin was the sous chef. So I'm like, I'll take any job. But I like the idea that, you start at 6 p.m. and you can work till 1. I didn't care. Like, I just wanted to play the golf course. And got my game back pretty good. I had won the Lando that summer, which was the big Surrey amateur in its day. And then at the BC Am, that was the first cut I ever made. And I went to the Canadian Am, and it was a pretty fun summer in that genre of time. But yeah, I just wanted to get back in there. I took a dishwasher job, and they quickly realized, like,
you can play.
You can play. Well, they knew that, and it was pretty funny times at that time, because I was pretty good at that time. Like, and I was getting a lot better with the work I was putting in, and there were some good pros there. But when they redid the 13th, I went out and got the course record, and I played there a good amount. But mainly it was just for the practice, just the range, short game, before and after. And I worked at Cove Links at the same time. So I was like I was going to school, closing like the kitchen, and then I'd go sleep in the pro shop at Cove Links and Ladner, wake up, then work in the shop, and then go to school. And it was a pretty chaotic time. But like, I've been working since I was 13. So work was the only opportunity to do for golf. Yeah, it was fun. And then I met with my, current version of my wife, who we never did get married, but we've been together since we were about 21. And I'm like, okay, I got to get my act together. So I dropped out of school and said, okay, I can give this golf stuff, a real good idea. And Northview at the time, Chris Hoy, comes back, and he's like, I was there putting and practicing a bit, and they were bugging me like, come back, you should work. And then that was Daryl Ellicott, great guy, still great guy. He works at Burnaby. He had kept saying, like, you should come back, turn pro, and work here. I'm like, nah, I don't think so. I'll find something else, but not here. Didn't seem like the right fit. And so I came in one day, and he's like, I told Chris Hoy you're interested. So Chris walked out on the putting green. He's like, all right, Monday to Friday open, it's yours. And we want you to play tournaments, turn pro. And so I was like, I couldn't turn it down. So I turned pro at Northview, and did the PAT. That wasn't very hard. I think 72-68. And kind of, that's when I really started to get good at golf. I always consider myself okay, but not very good. I could shoot 88 on any given day. I hit it far. Yeah. Like, in the middle of that, I think I went to the World Long Drives in there, like 2001. I won the Western Canadas, and then And then Brett Saunders was actually at Northsea at the time, great coach. And that was like kind of Tiger time where coaching was becoming a job.
Mhm.
There was more teachers around that could
Yeah.
make a living where it wasn't like after, before. So I knew I loved coaching. I knew I wanted to coach. I knew I liked playing. But I was never really good enough to ever consider the Canadian Tour, stuff like that, because I just late bloomer in that regard. Even though I was good, I was always around such
Were you always
better
thinking that
players.
though? Like, were you always
Well, like the economics never made sense to me. Like Q school, $3,500. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't bet that money on me. Like that wasn't. But I was lucky at the time. There was always way better players around me, like Bernikavich and Lepp, and there was all these guys that were so good. And so good. And you and I talked this before. Like these guys you're seeing at Morgan right now, that they're so good.
Yeah.
Like a club pro level and that level, there's a big gap.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just didn't think I was near that level, because Bryn Perry was way better than me, Phil Jonas, and it took me a while. It was right early in that career. I remember at Mayfair, I played my first BC assistants there, and I took an 8 on the second hole. And I hit the ball 8 times. I didn't hit in the water, and it's a drivable par 4 in a way, and I tried to play safe. I hit the ball 8 times. Like, I hit it squirrely. So I'm 4 over through 2, and, obviously completely out of it. And it's a 2-day event, and whenever I finished the tournament, I find, I'm 5th and 3 back. I'm like, you guys are terrible. And it took me a bit like that. It was those expressions where, $100 to play in our Monday G&G, it's called G&G now, is the Hogan Tour. Then it was like, that was a lot of money. I was really stressing. And I remember, like, I'd have 5 holes to go and I'd be like even par. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm playing terrible. Like, terrible. Like, this isn't even going to make money today. So then I'd go 2 over, and then I get like $80 and find out I came 5th. I'm like, man, you guys suck. Like I played terrible. So it took me a while to realize maybe I'm actually pretty
good.
decent, and I just have a temper problem.
Yeah.
Right. So then I started, okay, let's switch this. Let's maybe start grinding, maybe go 1 under in the last 5. And then you come second, you're like, okay, you guys are worse than I think. And maybe I'm a little better.
A little bit better.
Yeah, maybe I'm a little bit better. And then the next year I lost in a playoff the BC Assistants, but I remember it was at Ledju, and I had to birdie the last hole because I was trying not to shit my pants the whole back nine. Like, I'm just trying to make par and scrambling. Yeah. Because I knew I was in contention. I'd never really felt like I was in contention before, because the year before I'd made the quad on the second hole. So I was long gone it.
Yeah.
And at that time, I still remember, because I had a pretty famous X12 Callaway 1-iron that was like 3X and over length, and I'd hit this thing far. So Ledju, the 18th hole, I went 1-iron, 5-iron. Like, I hit it. I was hitting it good. I lost to Bryn in the playoff, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm pretty good. And I really pumped the brakes on that whole back nine and played horrific, trying to not lose. I essentially lost it, trying to not lose it, because I definitely was playing good, and then I just hit the brakes. Then the next year I won, and then I think for 6 years I finished inside like the top 2 or 3. And then in I think it was 2010 or something, 2009, I won the Canadian Assistants, and in the middle there, like BC match plays, won 4 of those. So the only guy win 4 BC match plays. So 2-man formats are always my element, because it feels like I'm walking around with a mulligan beside me. So I get to free up and play fun golf, like wild golf.
Yeah.
And I always paired myself with, ball striker that was steady Eddie and let me be me. Yeah. Which would always be chaotic. So, again, I never really ever thought of myself as a good player. Like, I just never did. I'd shoot low numbers, but I was always like, I felt like I was a grinder. Like, I was chipped and putted well, and didn't know where I was going to hit it on any given shot. And the way I played golf was chaotic at best. Like it was never organized and proper and smart, anything like that, because it was essentially self-taught.
Did you have a coach though when you got at this age?
No,
No, it was just you.
it was me.
You.
Now I was doing courses to be a better coach, and I was always around really good players because I was a coach and I loved observing and I asked tons of questions. So, a guy like James Lepp, whose short game was amazing. Like I spent hours and hours and hours with him chipping. You learn stuff. You learn stuff from Bernie Couch. You learn stuff from Shinner. Like you learn from these guys that I regarded as better because they're playing the Canadian Tour.
Mm-hmm.
But in a money match, we played straight. And in those settings, I'm like, yeah, but that's a casual setting. Like I'm not but also back to my point, at 21, I met my, wife that I'm still with, 23 years later.
Yeah.
And, we bought a condo and we matured. Like I grew up quick, and it wasn't like I was dream chasing. Like I felt, I've seen buddies that we were in the same stage and they chased the dream, and a decade later, it's like, wow, like you gave up a lot for that dream.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say, but it was never really my dream, I guess, because I never thought I was that good.
Yeah.
Because I always felt like I was a late bloomer. It's good enough to get like maybe a scholarship, Div 2, but I wasn't like those guys that went to Div 1.
Yeah.
And my first BCM, I made the cut. Like it's just, it was just a different era. Like I do think it was just in that Tiger making golf popular type of thing. Because even with the juniors I coach in the years, like I look back at it, 17 years old in a 1986 Ford Ranger I bought for $500. I went to the Sunshine Coast Golf and Country Club for the BC Junior, and I slept in the back of my truck, with a $50 bill, go to the, this was before cell phones, all that stuff. And you tell a 17-year-old that now,
forget it.
that I went to the Sunshine Coast, slept in the back of my truck on the side of the road at the BC Junior, and they'd be like, how poor were you? And I thought I was the richest kid in the world. Like I had my own car. Like I'm playing over here, but I had no business kind of contending. I played with Chris Barella, who turned out to win some web, and he was so good. I played practice around with him. I'm like, oh my God, like
what am I doing?
I'm happy breaking 80, and he's shooting 65. I still remember in grade 10 going to Meadow Gardens and Billy Noon shooting a 67 in like rain and sideways wind, and I'm trying to shoot 84. I'm just like, oh my God, like this guy is so good. So my opinion of my game was always so low because it was a heyday of such good golfers around that were so much better. And not a little bit, but I enjoyed playing with them, and luckily they enjoyed playing with me, right? Because it was entertaining at best to play with, because you never knew what I was going to do, and I hit the ball far, but it was always fun. I've always enjoyed playing golf in a social way.
But you also respect the game, though.
Oh no, man, I was highly competitive. Like I was a grinder. Like I always felt like the only reason I play good is like just sheer determination, not because I had a good golf swing. I had terrible grip and didn't know my fundamentals, and just an absolute desire to put a ball in the hole. Whereas I'd watch other guys and like they make it look easy. I feel like I'm trying to hit perfect 6-irons from under a tree out there. Like still some of my best tournaments were that, just pure chaos. Just Bryn and I had Bryn Perry and I, we had some great matches. Like he was so good. He'd beat us up all the time, but the odd time that I put it together, it was a lot of fun. Like all my big wins Bryn's right there. Like it was like Bryn wasn't 12th, he's like second, and if I did one mistake, Bryn wins. Like it was always, all my biggest wins were neck and neck.
So you make the decision. When did you make the decision that you're going to teach? When did that solidify itself?
Real fast. I saw what Brett was doing. I always had a knack for teaching. I think the communication of it, seeing the golf swing, seeing what I wanted. It was pretty immediate. By my second year, by my first year teaching, we'll say at Northview, I think I remember doing like $8,000 in revenue, and the next year I did 24, and I quickly phased myself out of the pro shop, and I would come in and do opens and closes for 3 hours to help out. But I really saw teaching as I loved it. Like I still do. I love teaching golf. Like I love everything about it. Everyone's so unique. Um, I think teaching golf, because golf is one of the most human games you can play.
I'll ask you this question.
Yeah.
Is golf a metaphor for life?
Um,
Or is life a metaphor for golf?
I think how you conduct yourself in life represents you on the golf course. Like, so yes, I'm in real life, I'm a version of chaotic, and luckily I have a good wife that, you know, I'm steady Eddie in certain
Can
things.
keep you on the fairway.
Yeah, like, but yeah, like I'm full of ideas. I'm a hot mess, you know, kind of like with all the things I like to do and try out, and everyone kind of gives me my leash, so to speak, is like, well, but that's Matt. Like, normal rules don't always apply to Matt, because Matt's just Matt. Like, we just leave him be, and luckily never tried to be overly normal.
Well, so you started Labster,
Yes.
and you started that at Northview.
Yeah. So way back, I think it was like 2010, Jason Glass, who was a big TPI, one of the top golf fitness guys, he came to Northview, and at that time, I'd taken over the golf academy at Northview, and we wanted to do something together, golf and fitness, and that was called the Tour Lab. So the Tour Lab is still technically it's still my business to this day. The Tour Performance Lab was a 12-month coaching program with golf and fitness, 50-50. And it was, I think at the time, quite cutting edge to do a monthly payment and 12-month coaching program, sign up in September. It was a long-term play. And Jason's awesome, just the nicest guy in the world. The best, worst amateur comedian, podcaster as well, big podcaster. So he's had his podcast, and he was 10 years older than me too. So he was mentorish to me too, because he was what I wanted to be, always 10 years in advance. He had his kids were older, and so there was always tons, and we got along great. So I had a program called Kids on Course at Northview, and we kind of just said, listen, let's call it Labsters. You know, I did high performance. You know, I wanted to take kids to college, and there was a boom for that, and there was a big demand for that. Even this year, I look back, and I don't know how much I loved it as much as you get caught up doing it. You know, there's a big, whether stigma is the right word, like the best coaches work with the best players. That's a reasonable assessment.
Yeah.
I think the best coach loves working with 5-year-old kids, and those kids all love the coach and love golf because of that. Even this year, my opportunity to teach women's golf, new golfers.
Yes.
I'm loving it. Like, genuinely. I think there's people from the outside looking at me like, oh, Matt's kind of lost the plot, because he did high performance forever.
And now he's teaching young.
Now he's teaching, he's teaching, like, you know, beginner women, moms how to golf. But I'm having a blast.
But how can that be a bad thing?
Exactly. So is the best coach Mark Blackburn? Sure. Yeah, I'm friends with Blackburn. If I was a tour pro, if I got a kid to a certain level, I'd be like, now it's time to level up, and you got to go to some of these serious coaches. But I got exposed to the high performance side. It's stressful. It's evenings, it's weekends. So once I had my kids, it was kind of like, there was a time maybe 8 years ago where I was like, this is tiring. I was a provincial coach for 7 years. There was a year I went to Ontario, and we had 27 kids. I was the provincial coach, but I had my own program, and there's 27 kids that go to the Canadian juniors from BC, and I was coaching 14 of them. It was a disaster. because I was the chaperone of 3 of them with the BC team, and everyone wanted me and my time when I'm there, but I was there paid for by BC Golf. And so parents were upset, players were upset that I couldn't. Like, I was the chaperone, I was the driver, I was the taxi driver for the 3 players I was with, getting them to and from the golf course, hotel, and eating with them. So parents are like, well, why can't you come to the range? And I was just like, this is exhausting. Like, I have too many students. That's when Johnny Shin came in. He was kind of done with the tour life, and he's an amazing coach now, and I knew he would be. So I kind of, and then the evenings and weekends. That's when you work with juniors.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a long haul. It was great. Lucky to work with some great players and produce some great players and work with a lot of coaches. And I always wanted a big team. That's what Northview turned out to be. Like 6 coaches were working for me, and that's what I liked. I liked the mentoring of it and the development of it. But yeah, there was always a stigma to to be the best coach, you're working with the best player. And I still regard Brett Saunders as the best coach in BC. I think best coach in Canada. Like, guy's amazing. And he's now developing guys like Moto and Scotty's been with him forever. But like the team at Morgan Creek, the teachers are they're phenomenal. That's where high performance is. So I've kind of circled back and like, I would love to get 15-year-olds that are new to golf quitting hockey and just want to play golf for life. That's what I want to coach. And if they want to go further, then Cookie can do it, or other coach. But I'm in a different phase in my career, which I can't quite determine what phase that is.
Then that provides us with the segue into what your current venture is, hence the cap that you're wearing.
Yeah.
And backyard. And that facility, that's the old Sunrise 9-hole pitch and putt golf course with the power lines and the whole 9 yards.
Been there since 1984.
Yeah.
It's been there forever.
I remember hitting those power lines too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Remember the old hole where you had to hit through the power tower?
Yeah.
That's not there anymore, but you had to hit through it.
Yeah.
The whole tower.
Yeah.
So yeah, I played there intermittently as a high school, and for fun. And when I left Northview to go to Point Grey, I loved it. Like I just like coaching. So it doesn't matter where I'm coaching. I just love coaching. And yeah, I live right there. I'd drive 5 minutes from my house, and then I'd drive by that golf course, and then another hour later get to Point Grey. And the commute was getting worse, and that's why I kind of resigned last fall, about a year ago now. And also I knew House of Golf, so I'm part of House of Golf as well in Langley, six track 9 bays. So I'm like, okay, well, I can teach there.
Where is that exactly in Layman?
It's just behind the bypass, so kind of behind Trevor Linden Fitness, near Costco.
Okay.
So we opened that in November. We're coming up on 2 years, and again, that was you get older, you're more experienced, you get opportunities, and that was one I couldn't pass up, and kind of wanted to do. I like coaching. I like running businesses. I like diversity.
Not simulators that at House of and
6 track mans.
6 track mans, and that's so getting back to you like, not that I'm an expert on trackmans or seeing the new Garmin and all this but playing golf on a simulator is not the easiest thing.
I was terrible at it. So terrible. Like I like the business model.
But how did you win?
Well, I got better.
Okay.
So I don't like being bad at things. So I am now that golfer that plays more sim golf than real golf.
Really?
I have a couple businesses. I have 2 kids in soccer. I'm busy. I can go play. I just came from House Golf. I did a 9-hole playing lesson at Bandon Dunes. It took 25 minutes, and then we went back out onto the golf course at Bandon Dunes and picked specific shots to practice from doing a playing lesson at Bandon Dunes.
Wow.
Just wildly different. it was all decision making, stuff like that. So when because my strength in golf was always the golf part. Like I'd golf that ball, if you want to carry that expression of the guy that golfs it. I wasn't the technical swinger that knew I was doing this. No, I was always playing the odds, gambling, risk adverse, all this stuff. Played like Phil Mickelson, very artistic and
bendy.
yeah, I didn't panic if I hit it in the trees. I'm like, okay, I hope I get a window. I'll hit the window. I'll chip it up and make the putt, like whatever. So TrackMan's not that. TrackMan, and then you think you know what 70 yards is and 40 yards, but I knew that from my coaching that you'd laser something, but really you're hitting it to there.
Yeah.
So elevated greens have always been difficult for most people because you lose a little bit of depth. Yeah. We go into TrackMan, it's a screen. Yeah. So we do get pros that come in, they're like, this thing's like terrible. I got a 40-yard shot and I hit it 70 yards. Like, what's wrong with TrackMan? It's like nothing. You had 65 miles per hour club speed on a 40-yard shot. And they're like, I don't even know what that means. So I had to like relearn a different style of golf that is TrackMan. Now there's pros and cons to it. Most people handicap are lower on TrackMan than real golf because you're not actually dealing with slopes. Yeah. You do math. Yeah. So you really realize you're playing against code. It's like the Matrix. I always say, you think that's air you're breathing. No, that's not a real tree. It's typed it in. Yeah. That bunker is, once you realize the computer has to do what it's supposed to do, those variables are less variable. So then you realize, the expression zero it out, you really start hitting it straight. Yeah. As much as that water is real to me, you start understanding dispersion patterns and your numbers, and then you just hit the shot. And I don't know if you've played it, but
I have not.
There's a gimme circle inside 10 feet. So most tournaments are done where outside 65 feet is a 3-putt. Okay. 65 feet to 10 feet is a 2-putt. Okay. So if you're 10 foot one, most painful number in TrackMan golf because you just 2-putted. Yeah. At 10 feet and in, it's a 1-putt. So you got to throw darts. Like you got to zero in, you got to know your yardages. You got to be dialed. And it's fun. And I can play 18 holes in 40 minutes. I can play in 30 minutes if I don't really care. So a tournament round for me, 18 holes, 40 minutes. And then you can get in the whole other side, like the zone we hear in sports. Mm-hmm. Golf in a 5-hour round, the zone is hard. Oh. Like this Ryder Cup, like I don't even know that zone. That zone is beyond me. So when, I was getting better at it. And then the next golf tour, which you may not know, was run by TrackMan, but like first place is $30,000 US. So I look at TrackMan and the software and what's behind it is kind of the starting point of putting poker online. You can have 10,000 people play the same course on the same day. You can actually say, do it over the next 7 days. Wins the same, pins are the same, everything's the same. Like you can't have 10,000 people into a poker tournament. No, you can't. No, not without logistical nightmares. Yeah. Well, Poker Stars and all that stuff is like, oh, look at that, $10 and I can win 10 grand. Yeah. Yeah, you can. So I do see that growing
with golf.
Yes. And it's efficient. It's cost effective. It's time effective. I can do it at 9 p.m. I can do it at 6 a.m. And, I like that. I like that flexibility. Whereas, I was always an early morning golfer because I just want to get my day started and get a round out, be home by 9 and then work. I've always been a hard worker. I've always worked a lot. And that was always what I did. So the TrackMan I got good at because, you just start getting better at it. And I remember that event. The first one was I shot 65 at St. Andrews. I hit 18 greens, which, again, I don't do that in real life. And I've played the old course. I don't do that in real life. But once you get in that groove, once you hit a drive, you just, 1 minute later, you're hitting another driver. 2 minutes later, you're hitting another driver. And you can just really zone out and just get it dialed. And all these things are just math and variables you memorize. And yeah, I just kind of got in the groove. And within 35 minutes, it was like clockwork. And I remember on 18, I don't remember this, I had 60 yards, which I knew is like the shot that I always practice. And I hit it to like 3 feet on the 18th hole. And I'm like, perfect. And again, classic me. Well, this isn't going to be good enough. Like, someone's going to beat this because that was easy.
Mhm.
Like, someone's better than
But
that.
we did.
No. And that one was, yeah, I played really well in that round. And then I played pretty good because when you, especially next golf tour, it goes to 8 feet and the courses are set up brutal. Like, they're so difficult. Like, again, there's a level above that I ain't touching. And very quickly, the next golf tour has 1,000 players. The next one has 800. The next one has 600 because the delusional people like me are.
That's
I remember there was the Rios Marco Simone in Rome, the first hole, and I remember steering one in the left hay and hitting it on the front right and 3-putting. I'm like, oh man, that was a tough start to 3-putt on the first hole because you're actually putting in that one now. No more gimme circles. And I see the guy that's leading made a 2. I'm like, oh, where did he hole it from? No, this bugger from like Denmark or Sweden, where they've been playing TrackMan golf indoors for a decade, absolutely rips driver straight at the green, rolls it up inside where I hit my shot from, and his club head speed's like 135. He's carrying it like 352 on a rope at the green, and then he makes it for 2. I'm like, well, I have no hope. I limped it. I was happy I hit a 6-iron out of the hay with a limped out hybrid to the left. Like, like he just hit his driver closer than I hit my putt. Like it wasn't even, it was comical. I'm like, but
it was a learning experience.
Oh yeah. So when you train for those,
Yeah.
and I've made a couple like small checks, so small I actually didn't even submit my paperwork to get paid. But a couple guys that actually got in Calgary got good money, but you're paying $125 US to play one round, and you have like 9 days to do it. And the leaderboard is live. You can watch every shot I hit because there's an app to make sure no one cheats, all the stuff. Like, the infrastructure is amazing. So that's how I knew this guy did that, because you can just go watch. Like, and it's just wild that for $125, 30 grand first place, and in the 6 events or 5 events, you get a DP World Tour event exemption. Like, these are good players.
So how many? So at the facility out in Langley, how many people do you have there that are participating like you are in? Or well, I'm assuming. I don't know if are you still participating at?
Oh yeah, like the PGA BC, that, like, we see it as the winter. There's a lot more people with TrackMan, so it's like, we launched a winter series. It's common in now Ontario. It's growing.
Okay.
And we use TrackMan because there's a leaderboard and there's software and the hardware, and it that's debatable with others, but I'm a big TrackMan fan, honestly. So yeah, I'll do it this winter, and there'll be probably a bigger series because people just want to stay active and participate in things, something to do. Like, this winter, I played more golf than I've ever played in years and years and years, because I was in House League as well, which runs at House of Golf. It's 20 weeks and gave away like 50 grand in prizing and a trip for Predator. And we had 120 guys in that. And we had a 94% weekly participation rate. Holy shit. People into it. You're a 4-man team and 2 best net. So everyone's watching the leaderboard. Like, it was very competitive. So I had, for 20 weeks, I had to go in there, and because I'm like a +3 or 4 on TrackMan, like, I gotta go shoot 4 under. Playing like whites or blues or the course that's a little shorter, but I got to still hit inside that freaking circle.
Who's picking the courses?
Jared, the GM there. Okay. So he usually lines them up like Bethpage, or he would do Bethpage this week, for example, for a big tournament, and it sounds of fun. Like, I enjoy it. So this winter, I played only indoor golf, and then came out in spring, and I was kind of curious. I'm like, man, I haven't hit off grass, and I don't work at a place with a range anymore. Like, I have bad arthritis, so I don't really practice much as it is. But I was curious if I'd go on the golf course and swing the same, like just ripping at it, hitting the bullseye.
Yep.
So I actually won a tournament. I've played 6 rounds this year, but I shot 5 under. Now that's not saying much at Quilchena because Nathan Leonard went and shot like 12 under, so I got beat by 7. But I was hitting the ball really good, and then I went to Pitt Meadows and I was like 6 under through 11, and I hadn't touched the club in 2 weeks. But I went that morning, just hit on the TrackMan again, and got out there and 3 under, luckily tied for the win.
So it helps.
Oh, like I am hitting the ball better than I've ever hit in my career. Ironically, straighter, more structured. I know my yardages. I barely golf. Like I'm just hitting straight off the tee, angles into greens, and I'm like, I don't know why I didn't do this
When you
before. Yeah, but in the simulator, why would you do all that stuff? You don't. And then I get on the real golf course, and I'm like, all right, let's just keep doing that. Let's just hit it. Like Pitt Meadows, the tiny greens out there. I remember the third hole, I birdied the first, I birdied the second, I think, and I go to the third hole. Usually the pin's on that right, and I usually try to cut it in. You're scared of cutting it, so you double cross it, and you miss the green left. I'm like, yeah, screw it. Let's just aim straight at it. Like, let's just pretend like when I'm TrackMan, like just hit it laser beam. If it cuts a bit, it still won't go out of play. But who really cares? Like my expectations are so low. I just hit dart right at it. Another birdie. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like I've never played that hole well because I'd always try to work stuff in, and now so it's really changed my golf game, golf swing, everything about it, and I hit it really well when I go play because even though I haven't played on green grass 6 rounds this whole year, I haven't played since June, but I'm quite dialed. And then what does an indoor golf pro need? A massive short game facility and a little par 3 to do.
Yeah.
So that was
the impetus of the backyard.
Yeah, like when I left Point Grey, I knew that 5 minutes from my house was House of Golf, but I always had this idea for this short game facility. Like, stuff like,
which I think is brilliant. Just not to blow shine up your ass, but I'm going to tell you, I think it's brilliant because, like I try to play once a week if I can, and there's where do you like, and I know Northview changed the rules.
And I actually don't blame them because I was at Northview for a long time in Morgan. It's busy.
Yeah.
And I remember being at Northview, and there's regulars that would be there 5 days a week, never spent a nickel.
Yeah.
And really they don't, some were not dressed quite like, I have zero objections, but like even the backyard part of it is just like House of Golf. You can come dressed as you are. It's the Clayton Hills par 3.
Yeah.
Like wear your flip flops and shorts and a t-shirt, come between work. Like, whereas, you got to kind of dress up.
But it's also the thing I like about it though, is that, I always look at I was fortunate to be introduced to golf when I was 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I've probably told this story ad nauseum, but I'm going to tell it again. I grew up in Manitoba. You played baseball in the summertime and you golfed. And when we lived in Winnipeg, there was a golf course called John Bloomberg, and the pro was, his name was Harry Brochie. I was 8 years old. And if you went to all 10 sessions, you got a $200 credit at the pro shop. Now, I went to my dad, I went to everyone because he wanted that $200.
Yeah.
Okay. Surprisingly, those 10 sessions, there's probably 3 or 4 of them. I was the only kid there.
Yeah.
Out of like 7 or 8 that had signed up.
Mm-hmm.
So he was just like, okay, hold the club how you want to hold the club. That's how he started. Mm-hmm. Hold the club how you want to go. Swing it. Okay, that's fine. Okay, do that again. And that's what got me started me in the golf. Now I think about, okay, how do you, like, there, to find a facility, to find some place to start somebody off young golfing. Like, what do? That's not, obviously, you're not going to go to I call a swanky course, but whatever golf course you're talking about, you're not going to take like little kids can't, there's rules that the golf courses has. And
It's tough.
it's tough.
Yeah.
It is. And when I was reading about what you've created there, it's a practice facility, but it's also, there's no pretension. It doesn't.
No.
Am I right in saying that? Like,
Correct.
it's not pretentious. It's
No. No, like, I worked there in a t-shirt. Like, I gave a golf lesson in Crocs this year. You think I'm doing that Point Grey? No, because I was out and around and I realized my shoes were in the backyard. I don't care. And that is one of the plights. We got the Lower Mainland. We have golf's boomed.
Yeah.
Right. It has. Costs have gone up. Access is harder. So no better time than that par 3, which kind of under the pub's management, they tried a couple times to get it going, but I wouldn't know how to run a pub, and they tried to run the course, but it's hard, especially without a golf background.
Yeah.
It's even hard for Steve and I, and we have a golf background. So, I always think when parents come to me and say, what's the key for a junior to get really good? And your story is that access. So where's our best players in BC, mainly where they've all come out of? There's kind of one club that takes the cake. Ledger, Hadwin, Nick Taylor, James Lapp, Andrew Smith, Racer. Because there was a study done about kind of the socioeconomics of a small town, middle class, kid after school, gets dropped off the golf course where they know they're safe, and they golf till it's dark.
Yeah.
That's it. Then one parent goes and picks up the other 4, and the pro is supportive, the club is supportive, it's not too busy. So I think you're going to see a lot more juniors get developed out of the Okanagan now because access. If you got to drive 30 minutes with limited access, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, even in my time, the Chicken Maryland supported the lab program in the early days amazingly. They if the kids were in that coaching program, they had course access. They had access to $5 range balls. And then as the road goes down and, moods change and stuff like that and different, all of a sudden it was $10.
Yeah.
And the course access was taken away.
Yeah.
It was over. That elite side was over. You can't, unless you're rich, you can't pay $10 for 100 balls.
Yeah.
So where have a lot of the top coaches gone? Indoors. Because range balls, expensive. Access, harder. So coaches have gone indoors. I think I can teach indoors just great. Morgan has expanded their outdoor capability because of that obstacle. What if the range is closed? What if it's wet and balls are plugging?
Yeah.
So, and the science behind it, like TrackMans and 3D and all this stuff, you're in these laboratories, these controlled environments. So even pros in California and Florida have gone indoors, getting away from, I don't even know if you want to call it politics, but the logistics of a real golf course, right? Like a lot of the private clubs in Vancouver, they're very supportive of junior golf, but at the end of the day, on the weekends, most juniors can't play till after 3.
Yeah.
So how are you gonna?
Yeah.
How are you gonna become elite if you're?
Yeah.
Now, Point Grey, I think a lot of elite juniors, because the range got so good, what they built, that they can practice the short game facility, amazing. So, again, this backyard to me was what an amazing, if I build this ultimate starting point, ages 4 through even 12. And then new golfers, 12 to 16, still feel welcome. Because there was a black hole, and golf has a black hole right now where early specialization in a lot of sports is hurting sport in general. So like 14-year-olds don't want group programming. Whereas 50 years ago,
That was the way.
that was where the age you started.
That's right.
Whereas now it's like, well, I started at 4.
Yeah.
We have 4 to 6-year-olds and 7 to 10-year-olds. And it's like, oh, what do you have for my 14-year-old that's new to the game? Nothing. Right. So even at Northview, we had the Labsters, which was kids' intro to golf and then it jumped to high performance. And then there was no real late entry point, and there wasn't facilities for it. So I think there's a missed opportunity there. And it's one of the things I'm trying to fill with the Clayton in the backyard was a really good short game. Like even Ledju, iron only driving range. The putting green was like one slope. So here every putt broke. And you had all these 4-hole loops and 6-hole loops where they can go play 4 holes, come back, but you didn't want to stay on the range. And so this one course that's short on the side of a hill with slope greens that's rewards short game and putting as a premium, and distance didn't matter as much, produced all these good players. Right? That's not lost. There's no mystery there. And if you talked about the trial, oh yeah, it was great. Went to school, then we went to the golf course 7 days a week. Yeah. And I remember hearing stories from the head pro, like on a Saturday at 10, it's like, hey guys, we're going to hold you up. We're going to put these 4 juniors out in front of you. And then most guys are like, great. Like they're good players. Yeah. Like they're good 11-year-olds. So they had access. So, it's a delicate mix with facilities because, you got to drive the bottom line. Golf courses aren't cheap to run. I know that full well, even our little tiny thing. And we're trying to make golf for under 8 free with a paid adult. Cheap junior memberships, still the lifeblood of golf and backyard access. And then we've gone to Operation 36, which is a whole other thing. Which was that? So Operation 36 has been around for quite a while now. It's got to be well over a decade. It's a software. It's essentially a software, but it's a theory where it's a program where you, martial arts have belts. Operation 36 is you start at 25 yards out for 9 holes and you have to shoot 36. That's it. Pass level 1, go to level 2, 50 yards out. So you can do this on the golf course, and we're going to launch for a ladies program, beginners, and it's now at like 900 facilities and over 2,000. Rory McIlroy's this ambassador and spokesperson for it. It's awesome.
Operation 36.
Operation 36. Just fantastic. I've wanted to do it for forever, but it's also logistically hard on full-scale golf courses where it could be 500 yards in between 2 holes.
Yeah.
But, like if you're a new golfer and you go to like Morgan or Norrie, it's hard, right?
Yeah.
So like even Corey Anderson, great guy, family owns Newlands and Guilford. Well, he's like, man, how do I help you? I want to help because, Guilford Newlands is busy. They've grown from the boom but they have a lot of new golfers because their price point, new golfers, and the rounds get slow. It's like, we wish they knew more etiquette, more rules. We're talking about how the etiquette's not. The new golfer these days, they don't know the etiquette and they're not getting introduced. Maybe.
COVID certainly didn't help that.
Yeah, and they're not getting introduced to the tradition of the game, we'll call it, if we want to be fuddy-duddies about it. They're blaring music. They like golf for different reasons than us, and I love it, right? There's a venue for everyone.
Yeah.
So, there's having a little par 3 that was neglected, and not neglected, but like
was what
unsustained. Weeds, moss, the greens weren't puttable.
Yeah.
And we did our summer camps there the last 3 years. So I formed a relationship with the pub owners and the facility. And we put in one artificial green 3 years ago because there wasn't a green puttable for the juniors. And I always had just this idea. And, leaving Point Grey and with Labsters needing to move from Langley Golf Center, it was, I pounced. Was it a well thought out plan? No. Not at all. It was like, I got this idea, went on Fiverr with the design, had someone do it top, like what it would look like, went to the pub, talked to some investors. I got this idea and we put it together fast.
If people want to find out more information about backyard golf, where should they go?
Yeah. So the backyard.golf. So we got one of those new age websites.
Backyard.golf.
Okay. So we opened at the very end of May. Okay. Kind of June 1st, you can call it. And, we're a dedicated short game facility. So it's 22,000 square feet total. We have patio, fire pit. So we're doing corporate events, birthday parties, we're hosting, staff parties and stuff like that because the new golfer likes it. The avid golfer likes it. It's this universal space that everyone seems to like, and a non-golfer gets to socialize. Whereas,
Cool.
you know, so we've created a different idea. Like, I'd love to say I got to emulate it off someone, but it doesn't really exist, and it's been a flyer. So a lot of people are struggling to understand what the heck it is, and it's way bigger than people think it is. It's bigger than a sheet of ice. It's ginormous. You get out there, it's really, really big. Costs a lot of money. But it is a dedicated place to do short game. Now, also because heat domes, all this stuff, we are year round.
Okay.
In January, it'll roll just as good as June.
Sure.
So for our juniors, it gives them a year-round access point.
Okay.
At Point Grey, I was blessed with the farm. We had this amazing short game facility, but we close it for 5 months because we just get beat up. So, you know, coming soon, we have lights on it so we can coach into the evening, and a lot of kids, 6 to 10. Like, let's start from chipping, putting, and around the greens, and we have 4 hitting nets so we can still work on their swing.
Okay.
So,
Well, check. I'm going to come out and check it out.
yeah,
Backyard golf. It's backyard.golf.
yeah.
Okay. Check out that website. And on that note, Matt, I'd like to thank you so much for coming today and talking. We talked for a long time, which is great. We could keep on going for a couple of hours because you tell them into it. And, that's cool. And I'd like to thank this is brought to you by riversidegolf.ca. They've got these Happy Gilmore just tap it in golf balls here. Nice. Pretty cool. Happy Gilmore 2, if you haven't seen it on Netflix.
Oh, it was good.
It's great.
Kids are loving it.
It is.
Yeah, they did a wonderful job.
I love it.
Yeah, they did it so good.
It's so good. And Happy Gilmore 2, Chrome 2, Callaway golf balls. And I'd like to thank riversidegolf.ca once again for sponsoring this. And Matt, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it, buddy. And I want to do it again. I want to talk.
Yeah.
Because we got a lot more to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
buddy.
you.